Hi, Emmanuel here with T2S, and T2S stands for Transform to Succeed. In this video, which is the first of a four-part series, I'll be showing you how you can set up an AWS FinOps infrastructure using Terraform. And FinOps stands for Financial and Operations together. So it's a two-word in one. So what I'm gonna do is I will, in part one, which is this video here, I'm gonna introduce you to FinOps, Terraform basics, and the project setup. This is something that I have used, and you can also replicate it. You can use it, you can tweak it, but at least you have something to start working from. And that the first part of our video, what we will be doing actually in this video is to let me see if I can get my I see that there. So is to number one, as I said, I'm gonna give you an introduction to FinOps. We'll look at the Terraform basics as well as project setup, and next what I'm gonna do is to configure Terraform backend for state management, and this is going to be the second video in this series. And the third part, it's gonna be the security. We're gonna set up budgeting, we're gonna set up cost monitoring, and we'll set up security. So I'm gonna show you how to deploy these components, and finally we will be ending with setting up a Lambda Auto Optimizer to help us track the resources that we do not use, like RDS, S3. Like for this specific project, we'll just focus on EC2 instances. We'll focus on S3 buckets, and then whatever you don't use, then you don't need it, right? So if you don't use it, you don't need it, and therefore we're gonna set up this Lambda function using Python to take care of that. So we're gonna optimize our infrastructure. So let's begin first talking about our project. We're gonna talk about our project infrastructure here. So the way we're gonna structure this, we're gonna have two major directories, and these will be kind of like our workspaces, right? So the first one it's gonna be environments. It's gonna be environments. So that'll be the first one here, environments. And in environments, this is where you have dev, you have prod, and you have stage. We'll focus primarily on, we're gonna focus on these ones here. So focus on these ones here: backend, main, provider, Terraform, TF-vars, variables, and version files. We'll write those files. And by the way, I have these scripts on my GitHub account. If you look at the notes, in the notes, there's that link. So you can just clone that repository, or you can just you can fork it on your account, your GitHub account, so that you keep it in your account, right? Or you can just download those codes on your local machine and play with them. All right. In addition to the environments, we will have modules. These modules will define the different components of our infrastructure. We're going to have the backend. This is where we will store our state file, and the state file is a file that keeps track of everything that you provision on your cloud, in your cloud environment. And we'll talk about budget module. We'll have a cost monitoring module. We'll have also the Lambda Auto Optimizer module. We'll have an S3 bucket module, and this is where we're going to store our cost reports. So everything that we pull from budget, cost explorer, and so on, it's gonna be stored in an S3 bucket for analysis, for monitoring, and so on. Then the security module, this is a security that we'll set up for our infrastructures. We want to protect our infrastructure, right? From first of all, we detect and monitor the threats that we may encounter. So this is what we're gonna do. And the README file, just kind of like an instruction or a manual file that you will also leverage on to understand the steps and what to do next. So now let's look at the setting up of the project. That's what we have done, and I'm gonna show you something else here. And these are going to be the key AWS services that we will be using. We're going to use the AWS Budgets to set spending limits. Then we use the CloudWatch alarms to notify teams of high cost, and cost anomaly detection, which will allow us and enable us to identify unexpected spikes. Finally, we have the Lambda Auto Optimizer. This will automatically stop underutilized EC2 instances and RDS. You can tweak this to add whatever resources that you want to optimize, as which are part of your infrastructure. And this Lambda Auto Optimizer, you don't only need to use it for the FinOps infrastructure, but you can use it for any other project that you may have. So this is really a good starting point for you to build even more complex infrastructure on AWS. The other thing that I'm gonna show you here in a moment here. So let me see if I can get to my terminal quick. So I'm gonna show you something here quick. And this is going to be on your local machine. So you go to your local machine, and when you get to your local machine, you're gonna need to install a few things here. So you're gonna need to install Terraform, all right? You will need to install AWS CLI. These are kind of like prerequisites. So AWS, let's see if I can write it down here, just for your sake. Here, so what you're gonna need to install here, you're gonna need Terraform. See if I have it here. Probably not. Okay, so what we need to install here, we're gonna need first. You will need Terraform. You're gonna need to install Terraform. Okay, you're gonna need to install Terraform. So here to install. And to install on your local machine, you will need to install Terraform. And the second thing that you're gonna need to install is AWS CLI. Okay, you're gonna need to have these on your system. And when you install AWS CLI, you will then need to configure AWS. And how do you configure AWS to work, communicate with our system, is by using this command here. So use that command, AWS configure. It's gonna configure everything. So what you need to do, go to the notes, look at the notes here. You should be able to see the link to help you install Terraform, and also the link to help you install AWS CLI and also configure it. And once you do all of that, you should be able to run these commands here. So when you run these commands, like if you do Terraform-V, you should get the version of Terraform that you have installed on your system. And if you do AWS config, you should see something like this. In my case, I have already installed, configured AWS to communicate with my local machine. Just a way of saying it, but you should then you should create an access key, ID, secret access key, and configure your region name. You can either use just a default region name, and here I usually just leave it as is. So this is what you should see when you run Terraform -v and AWS config. If AWS config is done properly, you should see something like this. This is the output you should be able to see. And I think this is the end of our video as part of this series on how you can set up a FinOps infrastructure on AWS, and using the following tools that you see on the screen: AWS Budgets, CloudWatch alarms, cost anomaly detection, Lambda Auto Optimizer. Meaning that in the next video, I'm gonna show you. I'll show you how you can configure Terraform backend for state management. And why do we need to do that? We need to do that for the reason that I will explain in the next video. So I hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and God bless.